Hi guys, it's me, Karlika. Welcome back to my channel, ADHD and Me. Today I wanted to talk about ADHD and sleep issues. So basically things like insomnia, nightmares, etc. So I was originally diagnosed with ADHD because of my insomnia. I had gone to the doctor complaining of insomnia for years and years and years, and he had tried prescribing me every medication he was comfortable prescribing me, and nothing was working. It might work for 1 or 2 days and then it wouldn't work anymore. So he referred me to a psychiatrist because of my insomnia, and that's what ultimately led to my ADHD diagnosis. So I originally went to the psychiatrist regarding insomnia. He'd written me a prescription for some sleeping tablets and had asked me to be tested for ADHD. So that's what I did. I started the process of being tested for ADHD. And in the process of being tested for ADHD, this is something that can take several appointments to be verified. I went back to him for something else regarding sleep, but a work issue I was having too, and I just didn't like him. He was so rude. He was the one that was pushing me to deal with this issue with work, and basically he was the one pushing me to take my boss for workplace bullying through work cover. So I'd gone back to him about that aspect of it, and he had he was just rude, and I explained to him that ultimately the sleeping tablets weren't helping me get to sleep. I said all they were doing was keeping me asleep, and I was sleeping through alarms and things like that. And basically he told me that I should appreciate that I'm sleeping, and when I explained to him that I have kids, I can't do that, his response was, well, you need to get someone else to help you look after your kids. So I never went back to him even after I had the official diagnosis of ADHD. So from there, I left it alone for 6 months. I was still obviously struggling with ADHD and insomnia, and then I went back. But one thing I didn't realise was the connection between sleep issues and ADHD. So my son had ADHD. He wasn't diagnosed till he was 15. But once I put the connection together, it made a lot of sense. And I've done a bit of research since then, and it was actually really surprising to me. So they say everything I'm quoting from the sleepfoundation.org. So the information that I found was one, that apparently 25 to 50% of people with ADHD have issues with sleeping or a secondary sleep issue. So for example, there might be insomnia, or it could be a secondary sleep issue like nightmares and things like that. So doctors are now starting to realise the importance of treating the sleep issue as well as the ADHD issue, which is amazing, because they're realising now not only the impact that lack of sleep is having on someone with ADHD and their ADHD symptoms, because a lot of the symptoms can coincide, things like forgetfulness, restlessness, things like that, that they're symptoms of a sleep issue as well as ADHD. So doctors are finally starting to put the two together and understanding it's just as important to treat the sleep issue as it is to treat the ADHD. So one thing that doctors, I should say, have found is that sometimes someone taking ADHD medication can help them sleep. So the calmness and the restful state that people get from having ADHD medication helps them sleep. So people can now trial taking a stimulant to go to sleep. This is what I'm going to be doing next. I haven't actually done this yet. My doctor did give me a sleep for temazepam, and when I'm having a night that I know I'm not going to sleep, I'm taking a temazepam. But next week, when my work roster is a little different, I'm going to try taking a stimulant just before going to bed to see if that actually helps me sleep and see how that goes. The issue with ADHD and sleep is a lot of people can find nighttime So the difference, let me double check what it is. So the sleep problems appear to change with the different types of ADHD. So I know traditionally there was the ADD, which wasn't hyperactive, and then there was the ADHD, which had the hyperactivity component. ADHD now is a broad diagnosis, just like autism. So you can be diagnosed with autism, and you can have someone who has just little traits of autism, or you can have someone to the full extent of being non-verbal. So ADHD, they say people with ADHD with the inattentive tend to have a later bedtime, but people with the hyper and impulsive side of ADHD tend to have insomnia more. So there's differences. I have the insomnia, and also with the and those with both tend to have a later bedtime and tend to have insomnia. So for me personally, I always put it down to previously that I was a night owl. I didn't like sleeping. I preferred to be awake at night and asleep during the day. Another thing with ADHD is people with ADHD are more likely to have daytime sleepiness. I always joked that I was the queen of daytime naps. Give me an hour sleep on the couch and I'm a different person. So it's a difference that they're now noticing, and they're realizing that the lack of sleep at night, or the lack of good sleep. So you can have insomnia where you just can't fall asleep, or you can have sleep issues where you wake several times throughout the night. You're not getting that quality, solid sleep. Me personally, once I'm asleep, I'm out. I hate waking up in the morning, which is another common symptom. I don't wake up well in the morning. I'm not a morning person. But other people can have it where they just wake up constantly throughout the night and they can't sleep properly. So sleep issues in ADHD can affect every single person completely differently, and I think that's something we need to be more aware of. There is such a stigma around the fact that if you're not bouncing off the walls, you don't have ADHD. If you're not literally forgetting everything, you don't have ADHD. Like, I know, like, one thing that I've noticed with me in particular is I can't remember people's names. And I've always just made a joke of it. Like, don't worry, I answered it all you. I don't expect you to remember my name because I'm not going to remember yours. Most people who don't have ADHD, every now and then will go, oh shit, what was that person's name? But someone with ADHD, it's a struggle. It doesn't matter how hard I try to remember your name. Within 2 minutes of you telling me your name in that conversation, I've completely forgotten it. So this is how it impacts people differently. Everyone has ADHD personality traits. ADHD is the way it impacts you. Does it affect your daily life and how your day's going? Like, it affects your job, it affects you at school, it can affect you in your personal life. Okay, so the next topic I want to mention is the sleep issues in ADHD generally start around puberty. So kids or children with ADHD will start developing these sleep issues around puberty, but as they get older, they tend to get worse and worse and worse. I can't speak for myself personally around what sleep issues I was having when I was younger. We had a bit of a messed up childhood, you know, everyone's got a story. So I don't remember a lot of when I was younger, but I do know I've always been a night owl. I don't ever remember being someone who was a morning person or anything like that. So I can't speak personally, but they do say that the sleep issues in ADHD generally start to present themselves at around puberty and escalate as you go on. I think a big thing as well to try and help with sleep issues around ADHD is to try and have a routine. I really feel like good sleep hygiene is really important, and having a routine for when you're going to bed, you know, trying to get off your devices. And I know this is so typical and it's not always easy to do, especially for people whose brains are racing at night and you're having 100 thoughts an hour. So I think the important thing is try keep a routine around sleep time and around wake time. This is really hard for me because I'm a shift worker. So some days I start work at, you know, I'm out of bed at 4:30 in the morning, but then I have to start work at 6 a.m. But I have shifts where I don't start till 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I don't finish till 10. So to try and keep a routine around some days not getting home from work till 11, but then other days having to be up at 4:30 in the morning is really hard. And this is something I'm going to aim to try create a better routine around, because I feel like that's something that's really going to help me in the future. So one important thing I have to say is try keep a routine. Get off technology half an hour before you want to get into bed. Get off technology, go have your shower, go make a cup of tea, lay in bed, read a book. Don't be on your phone, because the lights from your phone are stimulating you, so it's even harder to switch off. Okay, so the last thing I think I want to mention is that it's very common for people with ADHD to have a sleep disorder. Make sure you're discussing this with your doctor, bringing it to your doctor's attention that sleep is an issue for you. And, if you're a night person and you can't sleep during the day, try and work your life around that as best you can. If you work in an industry, say, that has shift work, try work afternoon shift. Try work that around your life as best as you can. As I said, for me personally, I know that that's not always possible. So bring it to your doctor's attention. Try work out a routine that works for you. Understand that you are not alone. I suffer from the worst insomnia possible and it's horrible. I feel you. Like, literally, leave a comment below. Talk to me about tell me something about your sleeping issues, something that's affected you. Or more importantly, if you've found something that works for you, leave it in the comments below so that people can read it. Something that might work for you might work for somebody else, but it might not. So please leave any comments you have below. I would love to read them and can't wait to reply. Also, like this video if you found it helpful at all. It really helps my channel grow. And also, please feel free to subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.